This next company is hailing from amidst the beautiful vineyards in Stellenbosch, just outside Cape Town in South Africa, and is Entersekt. And they've developed a breakthrough patented innovation in transaction authentication and mobile application security. They have locations in the US, the UK, and the Netherlands, and they have one very admirable statistics. Entersekt has a record 0 reported fraud cases for the entire client base that they serve. I would also like to now introduce Skulk Nolte, the CEO of Entersekt, onto the stage. Skulk tells me he enjoys fishing, not the fraudulent transaction kind of fishing, but the fly fishing kind of fishing. Welcome, Skulk.
Oh, we stopped fishing. Thank you, Maya. I think I have too many slides, so I'm going to try and get to the meat of it. So, Entersekt is a authentication services provider, and we focus on the security and authentication of the internet as well as the mobile channel. Entersekt came about in 2008 when a number of engineers in Stellenbosch, South Africa were wondering, how is it possible in South Africa, every single financial transaction being protected by an SMS one-time password, that customers are still falling victim to phishing and to fraud? So we actually received seed funding in early 2010, and we opened our doors on the 1st of February 2010, so we're about 4.5 years old. We quickly became the dominant player in the South African market, and today more than 2/3 of banking customers utilize our software. We had a world-first launch with Nedbank, which is one of the biggest banks in South Africa, and Zurich-based Swisscard is our first European customer, and they actually utilize our software for online card purchase protection. We have a number of US patents. We've patented all our software, and the first one started actually coming through this year. And our software is the first software authentication solution which is FIDO certified or FIDO ready. So why do we exist? Mobile and internet channels are exploding. Everything is moving towards the internet and the mobile, and the problem is that the actual risks associated with these type of channels are increasing as well. Not a week goes by where we don't actually hear about some form of breach or malware or heartbleed or something like that. So what opens up our opportunities in the market is actually firstly regulation, where certain markets and banks like the likes of Taiwan and Hong Kong, also Singapore, where the banks are forced to do transaction signing. Also market conditions, as I just explained. Failure of current solutions, specifically OTPs, but in general, I mean, at this stage there's massive fraud and there's a lot of solutions out there. Also, certain banks are being held liable for the fraud and fraud losses of their customers. So why do current industry solutions not work? And in general and specifically one-time passwords. And I'm showing here one-time passwords, whether it's generated on a hardware token, soft token, or whether it's sent via SMS. The problem is, as Gartner has said, is that this one-time password is actually being entered into the browser. And that's where the attack takes place. That's where this password and this one-time password is actually intercepted. So to show you a quick diagram of what this actually means and how phishing defeats one-time passwords, you will see that this is a user is clicked on an email when they trick to enter where they think is a banking site. They enter their username and their password. The fraudster runs a script in real time entering that username and password into the bank. The bank sends a one-time password or asks the customer to actually generate a one-time password, and the customer thinks, hang on, I'm on the right side, otherwise why would I receive an OTP? They enter it into the fake bank site, and the fraudster has your username, your password, and your one-time password. Phishing is really that simple, unfortunately. So what Entersekt does, and what we've patented in 2008, is we actually send details of the transaction to the customer and ask him with a simple yes/no question. Do you want to do this? The transaction is signed, end-to-end encrypted, and we send the answer back to the bank. So we bypass the middle, where the attack actually takes place, whether it's phishing, farming, man in the middle, key logging, etc. Okay. So how do we do this? We firstly do this with Transact, which is a standalone application based on X59 technology, or on an SDK, which actually allows you to put our authentication and security inside your banking application. It converts your application or our standalone or the mobile into a very strong, trusted second-factor authentication, and all of this with a simple yes/no, one-click authentication. We've done over 200 million transactions, as I said, without any fraud on this. We have a number of key differentiators in the market. Our cryptography is self-contained, meaning that we're actually impervious to rogue certificate authorities. We protect against malware. It works on feature phones and a number of OS issues like, iOS had a number of updates this year. We're impervious to that. We provide an encrypted channel from the mobile device to hardware behind the bank's firewall, which is clusterable. So this is end-to-end channel to a specific user. What do you want to do with it? We have a proven track record, and we authenticate any digital channel, whether it's internet, mobile, or card purchases, or mobile payments. We have millions of end customers across Africa and some in Europe, moving into the US now. Some of our pipeline highlights: 2 of the top 4 US banks currently in POC. We have RFPs with 2 of the largest global payments providers, and 15 POCs with banks in these 3 territories in the next couple of months. We targeted these 3 territories because 91% of global phishing is in North America and EMEA. Our business model is very simple. We've got a 3 or 5 year subscription model, all based on per users or per transactions. Case study, our first banking customer is Nedbank. It's one of the biggest banks in South Africa, and around 7 million customers, part of the Old Mutual group. Nedbank came to us with a specific phishing problem. All their transactions and users were protected by SMS OTP, but they still had a lot of phishing. We also they had limited online services, and they limited these services due to risk. Certain, like prepaid airtime and these things, they couldn't actually allow because it was too risky. And nearly half of their online card transactions were abandoned because customers didn't know how this worked, or they didn't trust the mechanism. The sales cycle was actually quite short in this case, around 3 months, because the bank had a very specific need. So this is actually what happened after we implemented. And this is a Nedbank slide that they presented at the Gartner IM in the US last year. You will see that to the left of the launch, there's quite a number of attempts and fraud. Successful fraud is the blue. The bank, unfortunately, took away the scale, but this shows what happened. And after our launch, you will see that no fraud, and also the attempts went away, because fraudsters actually go where it's the easiest. You will see that top right is a South African Revenue Service phishing email. There's no Nedbank logo. The fraudsters are not even trying anymore. Interestingly, because our authentication is so intuitive and so easy to use, we actually saw that the abandonment rate on card purchases went down by 80%. And because customers trust this channel, we saw that transactions are actually increasing. So we're not only affecting the bank's bottom line, but top line as well. The more customers trust this, the more they use it. We also built a full banking application on top of our SDK, and because the bank had a trusted channel to a specific user, they actually had a number of market firsts, like business banking, share trading, in-app purchases and payments, as well as internet banking authentication built inside the application. And the app also detects if you're a banking employee, it gives you VPN and other staff functionality. Our expansion at this stage, firstly, plans is target financial services companies in Europe and the US directly. Also to convert some market maker POCs to deals, and close with some payment providers, which we've submitted RFPs. Our challenges, firstly, maintaining focus. We've got a long sales cycle, about 12 months, especially in a new market, it's longer. And our solutions are actually addressed a number of verticals inside a bank, which makes the decision process more difficult. We have a very experienced board who's actually built companies into global enterprises a number of times and worked in the banking industry as well. And on our management side, we have a number of executives that have built enterprise software and actually sold this into banks and enterprises for the last 15, 20 years. As an example, looking at Fransje van Schoor, he was the president of S1 for the Postilion division a number of years, and he's doing that for us now. That's it for me. Vincent, I was waiting for you.
Hi, Shark. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Thank you for the presentation. I just have like 2 questions for you. Looking at the more Western European market, what about the European Central Bank guidelines and recommendation for mobile payments and payments? Did you ever make that comparison with the current guidelines from the ECB on your solution?
We did, and as far as we're aware, with our customer in Switzerland, they're happy that this actually conforms to that.
Okay, that would be actually quite important.
Yes.
The second question was coming back to your chart where you saw actually the channel where you asked the confirmation to the customer. Yes. What about the mobile banking?
Yes.
Like when the instruction to the bank comes from the mobile itself, would that mean that there would be a single channel, i.e. everything would come from the mobile and go back from to the mobile?
That's a longer discussion than we have here. Our opinion is that we actually have two channels, because what we do is we create a second channel. We don't use the mobile or the operating system SSL. We create our own SSL with a trusted mutual SSL channel, which we see as out of band. So actually, on a single device, we're of the opinion, and so far our banking customers agree, that you can actually do out of band two-factor authentication on one device.
So it's the same device, but two
Same
different
device,
channels.
two channels.
Thank you.
And also on a device, we also allow you to add a second signing certificate if you want to use that.
Scott, thank you. As a consumer, I have to say that transaction fraud could be the Achilles heels of the internet.
Definitely
And
so.
so delighted to know that there are companies like yours, especially as you share that example. Just a quick question. Where does your IP reside now that you are expanding globally?
We've actually split our IP, and our South African IP resides with our South African company, and the global company we've actually externalized. So at this stage, we're actually busy with PwC to see exactly where this would make sense, because of obviously there's a lot of things like taxation and withholding tax from certain territories into the US, etc. So it's we've split it into international and South Africa because it is difficult to get IP out of South Africa.
Hi, just a quick question. So I have two questions actually. One is, who are your competitors, and what the edge does your IP give you? And the second question is, it seems to me, if I get it correct, that your business model is dependent on OTP being the primary transaction model or authentication model. Should the OTP not being an authentication model anymore, how would your business model still survive?
Okay. The second one is it's not only the OTP. We actually secure a channel to the specific user. So whether it's mobile banking, it's about a secure channel to a specific user. One of the use cases is internet banking authentication, which is the OTP. But so we also deploy this for card purchases, for mobile payments, for online payments. We even have a bank utilizing this for trusted messaging, because how do you communicate with the customer? In essence, we're giving our bank a secure channel to a specific user, and you can know that this user did A or B or C. In terms of IP and in terms of competitors, at this stage, we've got about a 12 to 18-month technology lead. There's a number of things that we do completely different to competitors. We are seeing certain companies move into the market and actually do the same yes/no technologies. But the end-to-end crypto, hardware backing, certificate authority, those kind of things, not yet. We're of the opinion that actually do infringe on some of our IP, but the size of our company, it's something, and that's to answer your advantage question, we think it's a longer-term play, and it's obviously an exit play. We file a lot of IP and patents at this stage because it actually protects us from being sued, because people cannot accuse us of infringement if we have the IP.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.